So there are a bunch of things, including perks. I don't know if I mentioned that. Maybe the most important one is perks. So if you want to run covert sneakers, you have to do the Armory system. You have to spend 3 Armory tokens or whatever to unlock a perk. So then you might ask, okay, well, that's weird. If I just hit level 55, I don't have to worry about any of this though. That's what we thought based on that blog post. We were wrong though.
Very wrong, yeah.
And in fact, not only is it possible, but it's almost certain that you will hit max level 55, and still have perks locked that you can't use. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We've got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. Oh boy, we are live. Boys and girls, welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty Podcast, episode number 375. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I'm joined by Tanner, and we are doing our first ever podcast episode after the release of Modern Warfare 3. The official global release. Now, today what we're going to be going over, is our first impressions of the video game. And it had a weird launch, which I guess we should launch this broadcast episode by saying.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
It feels like a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
On November the 9th, there was the whole New Zealand thing, which I don't care to talk about that much, but whatever. Basically, the game launched 100 hours earlier in New Zealand than everywhere else in the world. So everyone was like, oh, change your console to New Zealand and you can play early. And then it turns out, well, everyone can just play early, I guess. The strat was from New Zealand launch to global launch. If you were not on console or didn't want to do any of those shenanigans, you could simply boot up the game and then get an invite or join someone on your friends list who is in a multiplayer match or lobby, and then you're good. And then you can even leave the party, but now that you're in the multiplayer lobby, you're fine, and you can just play the whole day. So that's what everyone did, myself included. I played a decent amount, actually, on the 9th, before the official release of the game, as did Tanner. And since then, and stop doing that, by the way, for video games. Don't do it again.
Yeah, stop at Call of Duty specifically. I don't know other games that do it. I don't think any, probably.
Yeah, I've been told other games do it, and there's some reason. I don't care what the reason is. Don't tell me, because I don't care, and I won't read it. And I'll ban you if you tell me, because I don't care. It doesn't matter. But Call of Duty needs to stop doing it, yeah. Just, if there's a law that makes you do that, fine. Let New Zealand, go purchase the box 19 hours early or whatever, but keep your servers offline. So simple. And then turn the servers on the global launch, so there's some hype.
Yeah.
And some build up.
And then people say
everyone's trickling in. It's so dumb.
And then people say things like, oh, they don't want to overload the servers. Hey, 200 people play in New Zealand. It goes live in the rest of the world at the same time later in the evening. That's not the reason. Shut up. That's not the reason.
That is
nobody plays
not the reason.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That is clearly and obviously not the reason. And if they wanted to not overload the servers, it would be as simple as a rolling launch where, 10% of the world at this hour and then 10 more percent at the second hour and so forth. That's what they would do, or something like it, if they needed their servers to be eased into or something, which they don't. So yeah, don't tell me that that's the reason either. And if you want to tell me the reason, the real reason, once again, I don't care. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. It's dumb that they do it. Just keep the servers offline anyway. Nonetheless, the game launched, and yeah, we've played it quite a bit since then. I'm level 51, I think. And I've been pounding those double XP tokens when I can. They were a little buggy earlier, but they seem to have fixed it now for the most part. I can now stack tokens. The UI works correctly. I don't get locked out of using them anymore. But yeah, I've been playing lots of multiplayer, and that's pretty much, that's actually all I've played. I haven't dabbled in ground war. I haven't dabbled in zombies, although that's going to change today. And
ground war.
We have a lot to say in terms of our first impressions. What level are you, Tanner?
I think 54.
Okay.
Leveling seems fast. I don't know. Leveling your actual probably because we're doing the focusing on challenges too. That must be it. Yeah.
That does help for sure. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's what's on the agenda today. We're going to talk about the video game. So a couple announcements before we do. Keep your eyes on the schedule. For our patrons, we will likely have a bonus episode for you sometime next week, I believe. We'll start rolling those out. And it will be about multiplayer. Maybe something zombies related later in the month, but I would expect something multiplayer related next week. I don't know if we'll focus on the camo grind because we have been doing that.
Well, we don't even know what's going on next week. I'm not here on Saturday, so I don't know what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. Next week's going to be all weird, actually.
And then the week after is Thanksgiving, so that's also going to be weird because Thanksgiving's on a Thursday. So the next 2 weeks are going to be weird.
Yeah, Thanksgiving will be fine for me, but we'll figure it out.
For me,
Either way, yeah. Keep your eyes on the schedule though, and we'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, exciting time to be a patron. We got a lot of good episodes cooking, and I'm just glad the game is out. But anyway, yeah, let's get into it. So before we start here, preamble. Yeah, I've only played multiplayer. I'm on Battle.net, keyboard and mouse. What else was I gonna say? I don't know. I think that's about it for me. What have you played in terms of game modes and stuff?
Sixes. I've played ground war, probably between 6-8 matches of ground war in total. I played all the ground war maps. I know that.
Okay.
I played cutthroat once. We have not played
the war mode yet.
I did.
It's another thing. Okay.
I played war. Sorry. I've played everything then, actually. Obviously I haven't played every single Sixes game mode. I haven't played free for all. I haven't played TDM, and I never will play any of those. But I've played Sixes, ground war, and cutthroat as well. I played one match of cutthroat and probably will never play it again. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So, all right, well then let's just get into it. One last thing, by the way, we are not going to talk about every single thing in the game, in the video game. We're not going to talk about every perk, every gun, every possible issue, every possible good
quite
thing.
A few. Yeah.
Every possible bad thing. This is a first impressions. We're gonna miss talking about a lot of important things, I'm sure, and that you should expect that because the game launched literally yesterday, technically. So if we don't talk about your pet peeve, then we'll get to it at some point. But this is not meant to be an exhaustive review of all of multiplayer after having played it for a day and a half. So these are the things that have stuck out to us as being important and noteworthy thus far. Okay, so my first point, kind of not about the game exactly, but it actually is really important. This game boots faster than any COD game I've ever played on PC, and I'm not kidding. I don't know what they did, but when we still have to do update requires restart, which is still inexcusable, to be clear. However, when that comes up and I press restart now, I'm back in the action awfully quickly. much more quickly than literally, I'm not kidding, any game on PC since BO4. This game boots way faster than. Don't know why, but I'll take it. Have you noticed this?
No. Yeah,
that's weird.
You said that yesterday, and I never thought of it. I don't know. Maybe I've never paid attention to it or thought about it, but I'll pay attention to it. Yeah.
I did get a new computer recently, but I've booted MW2 on this computer, and it's way slower than MW3. And I think I mentioned this to Cope or Jake, and they were like, "Yeah, this game does launch fast." So I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter, but it's a cute little point I thought I'd mention. Now let's get into the actual gameplay. Okay, we'll start with the maps. So the maps for sixes, which is what we've played most of, are remasters of MW2 2009 maps. All of them. And I've played on all of them by now. A number of times, I would say. And we're not going to talk about each and every map, but a couple little interesting points of note here. Number 1, Underpass. Solid map.
Yeah.
It is not, the visibility is not a disaster like I was expecting it to be.
It's literally one of the best maps in terms of visibility. It has better visibility than High Rise. Who would have thought? How?
Right.
Oh, I know how. They didn't put fog on it, and it's daytime. Wow. I wish they did that on every map they made, because it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a top 5 map. Yeah, it's really good.
Underpass is a solid map. I can see people. I was not able to in 2009, but now I can, because they decided to add a sun to the map, which is good. So that was one worry I had that was completely assuaged. Oh, let me write this down.
Write it down, man.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Just in general, we'll get to it. But okay, yeah. So Underpass, I was concerned about that. That seems to be fine. What's another thing I was going to say? Derail. I'm not kidding you. I played Derail and I almost didn't believe it. It's just a normal sized map. I thought, I swear to God, I thought Derail was at least 2.5 times bigger than it actually is. Literally that much bigger. I thought it was the longest map that was also quite wide in like Six's history, besides Grozny Raid, of course. That map is kilometers long and wide and tall.
Grozny Raid is somehow wider than it is long, yeah.
It's insane. It's incredible, right? Yeah. And there's even a fourth dimension of reality that they implemented into human perception and their video game to make it even bigger. That's how big Grozny Raid is. The worst map of any fictional setting ever, let me be clear. And Grozny Raid. However, with that said, I thought Derail was a close second. It's not. It's like a normal-sized regular Sixes map.
I mean, it's too big. It's for sure too big.
Is it?
It's boring. Yeah, it's not even a bad map. It's boring. That map needs 10s. But I think we should just kind of say this. This was my first point. The game mode in on these maps really, really, really makes a difference on whether or not the map plays well. And I feel like that is more so the case in MW3 than most games I can think of. Like a lot of times in general, I like a map or I don't, and I don't really think about it. Like Embassy in MW2, I just think, oh, I like Embassy. I've never thought, oh, this game mode sucks on it. This game, you play a map and you're like, this map is awful. Then you get it later and you're pissed because everyone votes for it, and it's a different game mode, and you're like, wait, this is kind of fun. So I don't understand what's going on there. Game mode really, really makes a difference, and I think so I've only played Derail Dom, and it wasn't bad, but it was boring. You don't see anyone the whole time. So I think Derail Hardpoint would actually be fun. But yeah, it's just that map I think is still too big, but it's very game mode dependent in my opinion.
Yeah. So before I move on from this real quick, I just in general of all the maps, one thing that it struck me after we played Derail, because I just couldn't believe how much smaller it actually is than I remember it being. I'm virtually certain what happened is now we have 120 FOV instead of whatever the default FOV was on an Xbox in 2009.
Yeah.
And that makes every map feel bigger because your field of view is so constrained. And I'm pretty sure that's why Derail felt so much bigger than it actually was. And that also probably changed my perception tremendously of a lot of maps. I talked about this in the beta when we were talking about Favela. Favela feels like a whole different map to me in this game than it did in 09. Even though it's a faithful recreation and it's just like graphically updated. And people in comments and stuff instructed me, there aren't new rooftops you can get to in Favela, really. There might be one or two, but like all the rooms and rooftops you can get onto now, you were able to get onto in 09. I was wrong about that when I said that in our beta review podcast. Yeah. The only reason I think that it felt like there were all these new things is the FOV thing. Like I remember going down one of the lanes on Favela, not the street lane, the opposite lane. I remember that feeling so like close quarters, CQB.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it felt so much more claustrophobic in 09, but now it's like a normal lane or whatever.
Yeah. It's, you're right. Still, we did talk about that on the beta, how Favela doesn't feel like Favela.
Right.
Even right now, when I was playing it yesterday, I play Favela and I don't feel Favela. I don't understand. I still can't figure it out. I just think it's a bad Sixes map. And I loved it. I used to love Favela. But I really think that's a good point, that field of view makes the maps play much different than we're thinking they would. Because like, for example, if you're running down a left lane with low field of view, maybe there's a little alleyway or like a little window on the right side. But as you're running through that with low field of view, you don't see that window, right? But if you're on wider field of view now on PC and on console, how they have a field of view slide, if you're running down a certain alleyway and you can see much more, you can see someone off to the side you wouldn't otherwise see. So you're getting into different gunfights that used to actually just never happen because people would run by each other and not see each other because you're in like a little bubble. So that I think really affects more than people realize. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just very weird to me.
I still I do not like Favela. It still feels very weird, and I don't think of Favela when I play it. I know that's pretty much the only like map. Favela. Yeah, it does not.
Yeah. I've had that experience with a couple maps. A couple maps feel exactly like I expected. Like Estate feels exactly like Estate used to feel.
Estate's even bigger than I remember it being, but it feels
it is
the
big.
Same.
Yeah. It feels like arguably bigger, which is weird, but yeah, some maps feel like they used to feel to me, and then some just don't. Derail is the biggest one, but Favela is another one for me too. But aside from that, the maps they're pretty good by and large. Now Tanner made a point. We've made this point before on this podcast, by the way. And this is always true. Whether a map is good or not also depends a lot on what game mode you're playing and where the devs chose to put objectives. So, for example, in MW 2, the last year's game, I hate Infinity Ward and Activision for this dumb naming scheme. Anyways, last year's game, there was a map called Farm 18. I think that's the right number. Okay, yeah. And it is it's a fine map. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's fine. It's pretty good. Whatever. It's a 6 out of 10 map.
Doesn't strike me as being on a farm though, right? I've never thought of it as a farm.
It certainly does not seem
it's
like
not
a farm to me.
They lied.
It simply isn't a farm. No crops are harvested there, but that's beside the point. It's a fine whatever map. If you're playing, I don't know, team deathmatch. What if you're playing search and destroy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if the bombs are if A and B bomb or site, whatever, were placed with a modicum of thought put into them, it could probably play well for search and destroy, but it's not. It's terrible. The A bomb is behind where one of the teams spawns. Like, that's how poorly it's placed. I don't know where it's placed, and I don't play search, so I don't know. I can't describe it to you or even remember where it is.
It's the one corner by the Rebel, I think, right?
I think it's just way closer to like one team spawn than another or something, and it makes it trivially easy to plant there or defend. Something like that. I don't remember the details. It doesn't matter. The details aren't important here. I remember playing it in customs, and everyone was like, oh, this is the worst search map of all time. It's so wildly unbalanced. And that's exactly the issue with this game. And a lot of its maps is, here's an example, Rundown. That's an MW2 original 2009, I Hate Activision map that we have now as a remaster.
In Modern Warfare
I loved
3,
Rundown.
2023.
Yeah, I loved Rundown 20 years ago, whatever, 15 years ago. And I like Rundown as well now on Hardpoint. On Dawn, though,
yeah,
the B flag is on the bridge with no cover anywhere, and you can get shot from two very oft-camped windows, in addition to obviously both sides of the bridge. Again, no cover on these sight lines. And you can also be on the right lane or left lane and get the most disgusting angle on B that anyone who is on B will never find you in, and you can kill them. So Rundown Dom is as simple as use your Armory token to unlock deployable cover, and we'll get into that, don't worry. Get B first, and you'll never lose it again if you pay attention. Never. It's not possible, because B is impossible to take without cover. This is the case, by the way, for most Dom B flags in this game. They are placed horribly poorly. None of them have, not none of them. I'm not kidding though. Half of them, you don't have cover when you're taking B. And then on some, they're super unbalanced. So like sub base B, the B flag on sub base. If you spawn on the low ground side, you can just dive on B behind 90 degrees of boxes and have perfect cover. So if you can get into cover, you're just nestled into capping that flag. If you spawn on the high ground side on sub base and you try to take B, you hop that little box of cover that I was talking about, and there's nothing for you, and you're just open to the other spawn, and it's impossible to take B. It's really weird and not well thought out at all. So they need to start adding more cover or just move where the flags are or something, because it doesn't make any sense at all. And it makes a lot of the maps play way worse than they otherwise would. Like, again, sub-base Hardpoint, super fun, great map, really good map. But Dom, just wildly unbalanced. It's so hard to take B if you are on one particular spawn. And that's true for a number of maps, by the way. Not all of them, but definitely Rundown, definitely Sub-Base. I can't think of any others right this second, but I know there are more. Where it's just like, okay, cool. I got this spawn, I just win. Or we have to flip spawns. But like, if you're trying to do this in pubs, then it's hard to do because you don't have like teammates to coordinate spawn flipping with or whatever. And winning actually matters in this game because of the Armory system, which isn't super great, which we'll get into. But yeah, I don't know. If you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the terrible B flags in this game?
Rundowns are miserable for sure, but I mean, the one is Terminal. Terminal doesn't make any sense at all. We were playing Terminal yesterday.
Flag is, yeah.
So like A and C are basically next to each other on the same lane, and then B is all the way outside. That's how it was, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Like it needs to actually
it's outside and under.
They don't even necessarily need to
weird.
move it. They just need to make one. They just need to make B say C, because it's weird. Because like we were playing, and the first time we played it, Raz was like getting mad. He's like, "Okay, I guess we're just not going to cap B," and I was like, "Well, we have A and C. We don't need B." And then like 2 minutes later, he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, B's in a horrible spot. You're right. This doesn't even make sense. Why is that the B flag? You don't need to hold it. So instead, you hold A and C, which is backwards than what you're used to." Yeah. But they still spawn over at B, so it's actually like the layout's actually fine. They just need to swap B and C or A and B. It's weird.
It is weird.
But
yeah,
anyways,
the terminal one's weird.
Yeah, because like they're on the same. Two of them are on the same lane, basically. Like you can almost see the other flag from one of them. It's very odd.
You actually almost can. Yeah, the same
like
lane and the same level.
Yeah. So
you don't even have to cross that hallway to get from A to C. It's insane. Yeah, you don't have to cross through mid. Like what? Okay.
Yeah.
What other game can you go from A flag to C flag and not cross mid? Think about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
I don't know. I think maybe a flag should move on terminal, but I don't know which, and I don't know where. I'd have to think about it or play it more. But like you should have to contend with mid.
It's just such a weird layout. I don't know where they would move B to. Like,
yeah, that's
you could try to put it like in the middle glass hallway, so from outside everyone can see you. But then that's one of those too. Whoever's controlling outside, if they get that flag, they're never losing it because they're going to sit up on the vents. They're going to watch it. They're going to be in the cockpit. That's such an easy hold. So I don't know where they would even move it to, honestly. But yeah, something needs to change there. But yeah, my next point here. I don't know if it's just me, but this game has so many head glitch spots. So many head glitch spots. It's like the height of all the boxes, and then how there are so many like little angled pathways on these maps. It seems like there are lots of ramps on these older maps. Skid Row mid, for example, that's the nastiest head glitch in the game. When you come up that little staircase. Then you have the ramp, you look down mid hallway. Like seriously, you see the other operator's head, you don't really see them, you see the diamond above their head, so you see who it is, but you're not actually seeing them. You're getting a diamond, but you really aren't seeing them, and they're of course shooting you fully because bullets come out of the barrel of the gun, and you can for sure see the gun when you can only see the top of their head, right?
Yeah, Scrapyard has a nasty ramp.
Scrapyard's got that ramp
too.
As well. Every single map has really nasty locations, for the most part, every single one, where you can get crazy headies. Subbase, a bunch of the boxes and stuff you get crazy headies on.
Yep.
All of them. Yeah, it's... I just constantly notice that. It's like, cool. I mean, it's like, I don't even know how I could have played that situation differently. He's behind a box. All I see is the top of his head. He's shooting at me. He sees my whole body. It's like, what else do I even do in a situation like that? There's no way to even outplay that. There's nothing you can do. Especially now so that guns do less headshot damage, it makes it even harder. So you have a higher health total, and then the guns do less headshot damage. So a head glitch is insanely overpowered in this game. And these maps just have tons of them, yeah. And I mean, that'll never change, so that doesn't matter at all. It's just a complaint.
That of course won't change. Yeah.
So that's just how this whole game's gonna be. Hey, have fun, CDL, snaking on a nasty head glitch. You'll die to somebody you don't ever see constantly. Like that's gonna happen all the time. CDL's gonna be a snooze fest because of that.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with how quickly you can snake and like vault in this game. I saw a tweet going around.
I saw it.
It was like the prone to vault. Like meta strat or whatever, and the guy's like snaking on a box, and then he goes from prone in the like wants to surprise the guy, right? So he's like snaking, he goes prone, and then just mantles and kills the guy. Like it was crazy. But anyway, yeah, and then you guys might be saying like, oh well, you guys wanted the remastered maps or you liked it, but the maps always had head glitches. So why are you complaining about it now? Well, I'm not asking them to like change how all the maps are laid out or like change the gradient of every ramp or whatever. The obvious solution to this problem is something they said they did last year, which is actually have bullets come out of the barrel of your gun rather than the top of your head. But they're not going to do that. So, but that just solves the head glitch problem. If like you needed bullets to actually come out of the barrel of your gun. Because when you're on a head glitch, you're ADSing and your reticle's like 1 millimeter above the box you're behind. and then you're shooting and you're doing damage to the guy. Whereas if you paused the game and then looked at that guy head glitching from a third person point of view, his optic would barely be above the box and his barrel would be far below the box. So if in real life he were to pull his trigger at that point, he wouldn't be shooting at anyone. He'd be shooting at the box right in front of him. Because bullets come out of the barrel of your gun in real life. Most of the time,
that's what they say,
anyway.
yeah. I don't think they come out of your optic.
That's what I remember from my time in the Corps. But maybe they have crazy technology now, but that's what they need to do to fix the head glitch problem. They don't need to change all the maps. They need to just change how the bullets work. But they're never going to do that. I don't think COD's ever had bullets come out of the barrel of the gun.
No, but Pat Kelly, the guy who designed the game, lied to us. Yeah.
And said they do, which was, I don't know if any game, I don't know if, I'm sure other games do it, but the only game I know of where bullets actually come out of the barrel of your gun is Tarkov.
I'm sure other games do it. You can be
behind cover, aim down sight, pull your trigger, and then realize you're shooting at the car in front of you that you're taking cover behind.
I wonder if like PUBG works that way. I kind of feel like it may. Or PUBG just won't, like your gun won't be ready to shoot unless it is in a location where the bullet would come out. Because if you like get close to walls in PUBG, your gun kind of comes up. So I feel like they may just have it so it's not up unless the bullet's going to come out of the barrel, basically. Yeah, because Tarkov, you can aim, you can be sitting in a window looking through your scope and you're like, oh, there's a guy here, I'm going to start shooting. But your barrel is lower than your scope because the game has real height over bore. So you have to sit up a little bit higher or else your bullet may just hit something below you because the gun is sitting lower than the optic. So yeah, it's in games. I don't know how common it is. It's probably mostly milsim type games in general, but yeah. So, and you know, and then also MW2 back then, hey, the time to kill was 2 bullets, right? So if somebody was on a head glitch, you hit them 2 times. Now I have to hit them 5 times.
Yeah.
And people are a lot better now than they used to be, right? They're also, I have to hit him 5 times while he's also snaking with attack 56. So it's kind of difficult to do, right?
Oh, yeah. By the way,
I'm gonna go pee.
I'd like to mention, I made a prediction that on day 1 of this game, I'm going to be getting farmed by someone with an Orion TAC 56 and an Orion Vaznev. And unfortunately, I'm wrong. But this is what happened, actually. We were playing High Rise, and we were playing against this guy, and he did not have an Orion TAC 56. He had a FaZe Clan Blueprint TAC 56 from last year's game. Max level, obviously, full attachments. I was wrong about that. And then he did switch to his FaZe Clan skinned Vaznev, in fact, in that very game. So I did not encounter the Orion TAC 56 Vaznev combo, but I did encounter the FaZe Clan TAC 56 Vaznev combo, and that did make me laugh a lot. And this was before the technical launch of the game. So the game's not even out, and this guy is sweating with the 2 CDL Pro guns in a pub's hardpoint game.
With the
Meanwhile, me, Jake, and Tanner are standing man level 3 trying to learn what the name of the gun we're shooting is. Yeah, that was fantastic.
I've also seen some people running Orion riot shields. Have you seen that yet?
I have not seen that myself, but everyone I play with tells me they've seen it, which is very
I see it
weird.
a lot, yeah. I've been seeing a lot of Orion riot shields on people's backs, so just be careful of that, guys. You're going to really start paying attention to that, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that's me. I've been doing that, yeah.
That's Razinon, yeah. And every time they run it, I take a screenshot of it and post it in Discord, so there's proof of it.
Shamelessly, yeah.
Take
riot shields out of the game.
Okay.
That simple. But anyway,
but
there's a lot of head glitches on these maps and in this game. But anyway, let's get into our top 3 maps so far. I'm gonna pull up a little map list.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about every map right now. Maybe like eventually, like a Patreon episode, part of it or something. We'll do a whole map rundown. Maybe, I don't know, but I think we'll just do top 3, bottom 3 right now. Yeah. So my list is kind of surprising. I'm kind of surprised myself with what maps I like and what maps I don't like, what maps play well in my opinion. Let's be clear. Maps early on in the game, your opinion will vary a lot. I will probably have a totally different list 3 weeks from now of what maps I think are good. But right now, my top 3. Subbase is probably actually my favorite map overall right now because it plays really well in Hardpoint, and I also think it plays well in Dom. Very open map. I don't know what it is. It has a very good flow to it, I think. It's got a predictable flow, I think you could say. So Subbase is good. Afghan probably up there as well, but again, kind of depends on the mode. Like Afghan Hardpoint is a lot better than Dom. The more I think of it, maybe we should just stop queuing for Dom and just queue for Hardpoint. Because the maps that don't play well, generally it's domination they don't play well, and Hardpoint, like all of them play well. Because at least it forces everyone to one area of the map. So the only thing with Hardpoint is it's the sweatiest playlist, pretty much. Besides Search, of course. So Afghan plays really well, I think. There are some visibility issues. The game has lots of visibility issues in general. Like there will be some spots where you'll be looking into the bunkers. You actually just can't see the person, but they of course see you clearly. If you're outside looking into the cave, the visibility is pretty spotty. So there's quite a bit of that, but overall I think Afghan plays well. Pretty good laid out map, long sight lines. And my last in the top 3 is probably Scrapyard. Just real basic 3-lane map. It's not a map I don't see how you could even like hate it. You either just like it, you either think it's really good, or you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's too basic of a Sixes map to have like strong hatred towards, right? It's not like if it was like rainy and foggy, then of course you could hate it, yeah. But it's just such a basic map, and I think it flows well in this game. And I've played it on both Hardpoint and Dom, and I like both of them. Yeah, so I think that's my top 3 right now.
Yeah. Afghan is fine. It's a little big though.
It's a little big.
It's a little big, and there are a lot of really nasty, I don't know if they're all necessarily head glitches, but there are a lot of little rat spots on Afghan that are very cringe and annoying when you die to them. I'm not a huge Afghan fan, honestly. Yeah.
I can understand people not liking that map.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not my top 3. Scrapyard is probably number 1 for exactly what you said. It is the most generic 3-lane map that's the perfect size you could possibly make. Mm-hmm. It's just like a solid map. Like it's just a good map, and it's fun to play. It's really well designed. I'm kind of bored of it because I've played it, I feel like, so much since we started this program.
Yeah.
It's in Ground War.
Verdansk,
it's in Warzone. It's in multiplayer. It's in multiplayer again. It's now we have it in multiplayer once more. So I'm kind of bored of it, but it's a great map. I mean, it's solid, you know? So yeah, it's probably like actually the best map right now as far as I'm concerned. Subbase too, but B really pisses me off. The B flag position really bothers me a lot. It's still probably in my top 3 though, because besides that, and like if you get on Hardpoint, this is a really fun map.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Subbase tremendously. And then my last one, man, it's probably, I expected to say Rundown, but I don't think it's Rundown. I think it's Invasion. I think Invasion is a fun, solid little map. And that's an example of a B flag that makes perfect sense. If you want to cap B from either spawn, you have some cover, but not infinite cover. And you have equal opportunity to get to B.
Yeah, Invasion is a good one.
And then A and C are like in spawn. Like Invasion is just like a solid map to me. I like it a lot. I think it plays quite well. Yeah. Including on Dom, which I can't say for a lot of these.
Yeah,
maps,
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of forget about Invasion. I've only played that one a couple times, but I did really like it. Yeah, you're right. That's a solid map. That's probably in my top 5 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many of the maps, though, to me are just like, okay.
Perfect.
Which I guess is fine. It's not like MW19 where literally the vast majority of the launch multiplayer maps, it's not even that they were just okay. It's that they were like universally hated. Like no one goes in and says, "Oh, Azir Cave is a top 3 map in Modern Warfare 19." No, nobody says that, right? It was a horrible map and hated by almost every single person that played it. So yeah, I feel like this game, just so many of them just fall into the mid category. And then you get the votes because of map voting, and you're like, do I want this mid map or this mid map? And you're like, I don't know. They're both just whatever. And so I did say that in the beta. I was like, I just feel like I'm already bored of these maps. And then Raz was like, it's probably because it's a beta and like there are only a few maps. There's nothing to grind for. So the full game's out now, and I am in general just kind of bored of the maps, I guess. I would still rather have this map list though than if they had tried to design 16 brand new maps, because for sure 100% they would have had more maps that are bad than remastered maps we have that are bad right now. But yeah, they've just all been a little bit more boring than I thought. And because I haven't played most of them in so long. I play it 2 times. I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember this map. I've played it before. I don't know. It kind of doesn't give you like that feeling of excitement, I guess you could say, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They're most of them are good overall.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I totally get that. And part of the reason that is the case is because some maps just didn't live up to my memories. Like Terminal's a good one. Terminal's fine.
Yeah. Again, most overrated COD map
maybe
of all
it's fine.
time.
Like I don't even know if I like it. It's like it's okay.
It's horrible. Yeah, on Dom, it's horrible.
Yeah, there's
like
just
it's a back out on Dom basically.
And there's such a large no man's land on Terminal that doesn't exist for most maps have like a no man's land, right? So like if you go to Shoot House, the darn tootin' dead center of the map, right? Like where B is.
Yeah.
Like don't go there. You
don't, huh?
You shouldn't be there. You can go through it maybe, but it's risky. But that's like a pretty small no man's land, right? Terminal no man's land is that entire hallway that connects like 2 parts of the map that you just can't go to. You can't get to the other side of Terminal through that lane. If you do, then congratulations, the match is ending automatically in the next 10 seconds because the entire enemy team must have backed out. That's the only way you're running down that whole hallway. So I have to either go plain side to get to the other side of the map or go to the metal detector side lane. And it's like, I just have to avoid this whole lane. And I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, a lot of the maps just didn't live up to my expectations. Rundown is another one. I haven't played it much, to be fair. No one seems to vote for Rundown, but this was like one of my favorite maps in 09. And I have not played it that many times yet in this game. But it has not lived up to my expectations either. Not nearly as good of a map as I remember it being.
Yeah.
So that's part of the thing too, is like I expected a lot more banger maps than we have. And that has kind of like dampened my excitement a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, I will take it like you said. I'd rather have this than 16 original maps or whatever. So let's get into our worst maps, bottom 3.
And I think the first one, do we agree on this?
We have to agree on it, right?
Is this a unanimous decision? Yeah.
If you're listening and you don't agree that this is in the bottom 3 of maps, unsubscribe from this podcast.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Yeah, you're going to have to unsubscribe.
What's the map, man?
Yeah. The map is, of course, Karachi.
It's so bad.
Is it the worst map I've ever played in a game? It's not. Grozny Raid is, but it's really terrible.
No, Grozny Raid was so much better than this.
Well,
you also hate Grozny Raid much more than I ever did.
Let's hold our
Karachi is horrible.
Karachi's really bad.
I cannot believe how bad. I forgot how vertical that map was.
Yeah.
No one's ever on the ground in the map. It's very vertical. Again,
and
head
the layout
glitches
is
everywhere.
Weird. The whole back of the map is like weird. I'm only there because I spawned there. It's like it might as well not be there. I don't know. It's very bizarre.
So I'm trying to think. I believe I've only played Karachi on Dom. So I wonder how it would play on Hardpoint again. Dom though, so bad. Really, really bad map. But yeah, maybe Hardpoint it's playable, honestly. Because less people would be on the roofs. It would for sure be better. Yeah, I don't know why we play Hardpoint. Why do we? I mean, Dom. I don't know why we queue for Dom. Why do we do it?
Yeah, we got to stop, huh?
Yeah, we
got to knock it off.
We need to just queue for Hardpoint.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something. But yeah, I don't know if Hardpoint would save Karachi though.
It'd be better, but it's still bottom 3 regardless, I think.
It would be better for sure. Yeah. Like, you know the whole area where that bus is and like that restaurant? That all seems like
I didn't know there was a bus. I'm usually above it on a roof. I wasn't aware. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a bus. Yeah, it's just all like wasted space. Like no one's there. I don't know. Karachi's just weird.
Yeah, but, okay. Is that the side of the map where then you go inside the building and then you can go upstairs in that building and there's like a bunch of rooms? It's like an office building. And that's the same building where there's a blown out wall that overlooks mid?
Yes, that building. Yeah. That bus, if you look toward like the restaurant or diner or whatever, there's like a random diner in the corner of the map. And like I don't know. The only time I've seen people in there is when our idiot party leader queues for kill confirmed. That's the only time I've ever seen people in there.
Yeah.
Because there's no objective at all. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a weird map. So Karachi's definitely up there. What else would I say is in my bottom 3?
Either of my 2 here.
High rise,
huh? And it's almost strictly because of the visibility, the fog, the haze, the color. If it was just daytime, hey, if it was like Underpass, I would immediately like high rise more. It would be a mid map for me.
I really dislike in mid there's that like lower section where
That's
like
true.
hard
that
points will be
completely as well.
It interrupts the flow of the map and like sometimes
it's hard to push down into it.
And it's hard to push into it.
Because you can't, because you can only get to it from like 2 or 3 of the sides, I guess. So it's easy to kind of figure out which area to sit to watch for people coming in.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like that. And also, the spawn buildings, they go too far back. I don't like that either, because every once in a while, someone will be behind you when you spawn. And this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
That building needs to be shortened. So that when I spawn, I'm out of the room faster, out of the building faster, or I'm not getting shot from behind or something. It's just a lot of wasted space. I don't like that. And then I disagree with you with my last bottom 3 is obviously, this is actually, I think this map actually might be worse than Karachi.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's worse than Karachi, and I think it's called Quarry. Terrible, bad map.
You've played in this game?
It's also too big. I've played in this game. Yeah, it doesn't get voted for much, luckily. But this map it's probably as bad as Karachi, but unlike Karachi, it's also far too big. So that's the tipping point for me. That makes it, in fact, worse than Karachi, I would say, is Quarry. Doesn't play well, not good, not fun, not interesting. Don't like it. Hate it also.
I was pleasantly surprised, but here's the thing. Here's the disclaimer. I was playing solo. The lobby was not very good. So I didn't have people talking in my ear so I can hear things, right? It wasn't a super, super sweaty lobby, so I was getting kills. You can mantle on all of the blocks. You can like mantle onto the next one very, very fast. So you can climb up that stuff quick,
true.
Which is nice. And everyone was always in the same predictable spot. So I do agree the map is huge, but their whole team was always, they came from the same 2 little angles, and I always knew where they were coming from, and I would always push into their spawns. I actually had fun the one time I played it, but yeah, I only played it one time. That was the only time I think I saw it in a map vote. I hadn't seen it other than that. I think that was the only time. Not even that it's not even get voted for, it's just I don't see it. So
yeah,
I as of right now wouldn't put that in my bottom 3. I would say again that's a step up from. It's not a mid map, and it's not an unplayable map for me. It's somewhere right.
It's a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my other bottom 3, Rust, miserable map. Horrible spawns, horrible flow, horrible visibility, horrible head glitches in some locations, like every other map. Just bad. I mean, the visibility is so bad. Whatever lane you're on, if I spawn in a corner, right, and I'm looking towards mid, if I aim right and I look down that lane, doesn't matter where on the map you are, you can't see someone at the end of that lane. It's horrible. It's so foggy. It's so hazy. The corner where the big pipe is that runs along that entire wall. So that corner, right?
Yep.
When people spawn in that little dark corner where like the little building is where the pipe comes in,
where one of the
you
hard
actually
points is.
cannot see them. I start shooting down there and I kind of start getting hit markers and I see diamonds. I do not ever see the person. I mean, ever. I have
really
never once
corner.
looked down that lane and seen anyone there. It is wild. And then there are boxes there, of course, right? So then they're also on head glitches. Rust is an unplayable, horrible map. Yeah. And it's, hey, by the way, it's never been good, ever. And it's just worse now than it ever was.
In addition to all of that, which is obviously true, I'm so bored of it also.
Mm-hmm.
How many times am I going to have to play on Rust? I swear it's been in every game since we started this podcast. Maybe that's not true on paper, but that's what it feels like. I am so bored of Rust. I'm so done playing Rust. It's in every playlist also in multiplayer games. So like if it's, small map 24/7, Rust. Throwback maps 24/7, Rust. Special 1v1s only playlist.
Yeah, true.
Rust. Any playlist, Rust is in it. I've played so much Rust. I'm so bored of it. Stop. Yeah. And it's not a good map also. So,
it's just
I'm
slightly
very
bigger.
annoyed with Rust.
It's just a slightly bigger version of Shipment. It has zero flow to it and you get spawn killed. It's horrible.
It's not good. Yeah. And the no man's land is everywhere. You have to just run a circle on Rust also. It's like I'm playing the Grand Prix. You just can't run from one corner to another unless you're along a wall. You can't go diagonally through that map. You just can't do it. It's so bad. And I hate Rust also. Yeah, Rust might be in my bottom 3. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Some maps just aren't very good. Yeah. Some maps just aren't very good.
Yeah.
But anyways, speaking of maps, how are the Ground War maps and how's Ground War in general? I only played it in the beta, but I did like all the maps in the beta better than the MW2 Ground War maps. What has been your experience?
So to start with,
far?
I went to Ground War to test it because I was, just sick of the Sixes lobbies that are entirely too good. Ground War lobbies are much easier. So in theory, I was like, I can probably get a lot of these challenges done, camo challenges done much quicker in this playlist. And maybe not quicker because you don't get very many kills, not like MW19 on most of these maps, I feel like. But you can like easily flank people and get headshots, work on things like that because the players just aren't good, right? So I originally went there, I think, to do my 3 kills in 1 mag because I was doing fine in Sixes with it, but I was like, I want to try Ground War anyways. This would probably be super easy in Ground War. Get in a building on the right side of the map, sit in a window, wait for people to run by. They're running away from me basically, and I shoot them in the back. So I did that, and it of course was really easy. I played every single Ground War map. So to start with, better than MW2 Ground War for sure, not nearly as good as MW19. And this is now what I've realized. MW19 Ground War is never coming back, which means Ground War will probably never be my main game mode again. Like, it was fun for a little while because I'm like, oh, the players are just so bad. And then you're just bored. And it's all because of the maps.
Why do you think that is?
It's 100% the maps. Most of the maps are too wide, and they have way too much clutter in them. Way too much clutter. And they have both of those things, right? So it's like MW19 Farmland was a great map. Why? It was pretty narrow. Everyone was always fighting. It was very narrow. Boneyard. It was small overall, so it was good because of that. There was a lot of like clutter and little lanes on Boneyard, but it was small enough that you were always in action.
Yeah, Boneyard doesn't seem like it would play well, but it did.
It was
which
excellent.
Is weird.
Anaya Palace. small, and the best part about that, infantry
So
only.
good.
There needs to just always be a ground war infantry only plays, because I'll stand by this. People don't want to use the APCs. They're not fun to use, right? Some people just end up using them because they spawn and they use it basically as transportation. They're like, oh, I'm just going to stay in it and get kills. And they're so boring because like they're not even busted overpowered. Like it takes a few shots to kill someone basically. Like you have to either shoot at their feet 2 or 3 times or direct impact them or something. So they're not even overpowered, but I want to avoid them so I don't have to worry about getting shot at them. So I just try to like run around and avoid them, and it's just annoying. And it feels like there are too many of them. Like it just seems like wherever you go, there are 2 or 3 of them. I haven't died to a single one yet. I don't think I've been shot at by one. They're just an annoyance because they're in the way, essentially.
Yeah. That
And
was
then
my experience, is they were not
probably
good.
how they have the giant choppers now. So everyone just spawns in a chopper and then sits up there and snipes out of the window. That's also not fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the same thing as an MW2. Although I think they put a cap on it, so you cannot go nearly as high as you could in MW2, which is good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That vehicle is kind of a mistake, isn't it?
Huge
You're
mistake.
kind of right. Because yeah, that's a bunch of people that are just not like on the map
Because that throws
anymore.
off the flow. Yeah, because you're either sitting in
Yeah.
there or people are spawning there and then just jumping off and landing literally wherever they want on the map.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing someone to spawn on a flag and then start pushing up the map, so you get far less
True.
infantry combat. So that's why ground war, it's just boring. I think that's what it is.
That's too bad.
Because, dude,
But
we used
I
to drop
believe it.
crazy high kills on ground war. I just feel like even if you're the best player in the world, you don't do that anymore. Because you can't find enough people.
Do you remember that one weekend? It was after
The nuke
so
weekend.
MW19, the nuke weekend. Yeah, MW19 comes out. Tanner and I both get a nuke before the game, or like pretty early on. We both get a nuke. We get 30 kills. I call in my nuke when I get 30 kills. Tanner doesn't call his in, but then he does it again, and then he ends up calling it in. But the first time he earned a nuke, he didn't call it in, which is hilarious. But anyways, we had both gotten a nuke in the game, and there was no calling card for it, which we couldn't believe, because in BO4, there was a very ostentatious, noticeable calling card for it. Just like the reason you wanted it is to run the calling card. So we couldn't believe it. And then an update came out that added calling cards for getting a nuke, or added a calling card for getting a nuke. And we were like, oh, sick. I can't wait to go equip my new calling card. Psych. Doesn't apply retroactively.
Yeah.
So Tanner and I were both like, all right, dude, we have to get a nuke like this weekend or whatever it was. I think we were still had jobs at the time. So we spent like a weekend Q sniping Anaya Palace ground war to try and get a nuke. And we would like take turns. One person would go for it and one person would like cover. And we kept getting to like, but we were reliably getting like 25, 27 kill streaks.
We got 20.
game.
We got 29 a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. It was, but we couldn't cross the line because by that time we're just like spawn camping or something. And eventually it's just too many Semtexes, too many C4s, whatever. And we just kept getting overrun. And then eventually, like, I went to go eat, and then Tanner got a nuke, and then texted me that. He's like, dude, just play 10s. And then I started playing 10s. Tanner gets off to go eat, and I'm playing by myself, and then I get one. And I was like, okay. But still, it was so fun. Ground War was so fun. That was like that weekend was one of the most fun times I had in MW 2019.
For sure.
If you're excluding Warzone, that was probably the most fun I had.
Anaya Palace was so good in ground war.
God, it was so good.
And yeah,
dude.
most
It
of that
so
was
good.
because it was infantry only.
Yes. And
So that
small,
ground
you
war-
can get into the action right away.
Yeah, they need to just get rid of the whole vehicle system, honestly. Make it boots on the ground war like they've done playlists of often. I don't know how often they did in MW2, but MW19, they'd end up doing that a lot. They do boots on the ground war, or boots on the, yeah, they call it something like that. But it was infantry only, so much better. So much better. So, yeah, I don't know how much I'll play it because it just, it gets boring. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. Tanner, I'm sure we'll play it more.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll talk more about it. Like we'll talk about everything we're talking about here. We'll talk more about all of these things. But I would be shocked if Tanner's wrong about this. I'd be shocked if I played Ground War and I thought it was better or more fun than MW19. I don't see that being possible.
So we were trying to queue for it with 5 people, right? You can't. So Ground War, it's a bigger playlist,
so dumb.
32 on a team. I think it's 32 in this game. And you can't queue with 5 people, but you can queue for 6v6 with 5 people, of course. So, because they put you in squads of 4 in Ground War. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to leave and I'll play Ground War by myself. So they were playing, and of course, same thing for them. They're like, oh, this is so much better. Why do we play 6s? Less than 2 rounds later, they're like, all right, I'm bored of this. It's like, yeah, it gets boring so fast. The gunfights aren't interesting. And yeah, everyone's always... It's like they're sitting in the back of the map sniping, or you just don't see people. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to spawn camp them, right? And I can't even find people coming out of the spawn. Like, Anaya Palace, we would spawn camp and someone would spawn in every 2 seconds to kill. It's like, I'm sitting in their spawn trying to get 3 kills with 1 mag, but I can't see anyone. No one is spawning there.
Yeah. Okay, I want to move some things around.
Yeah, so
here. And then
next thing, war mode.
Yeah,
I played it like once or twice. I don't know. It's like you go up to a tank, you stand at it. It's like the game mode in BO4 where you move the thing, safeguard. So you stand on it, that starts moving the tank up, right? That progresses the tank. They can do things like build defenses that then you have to blow up. It's like it's on like a set path and like set map. So like the second stage of it is Crossfire, the COD 4 map. So you get the tank, start going down that lane. So they're all like, they have defenses set up, the other team. They've got, mounted turrets set up they can do. So you're just basically trying to stay on the tank enough to keep it moving and also kill them. So it's very spammy. I mean, like if you're on the tank trying to move it, you're just having like 10 frag grenades thrown at you the entire time. It also just seems very, very repetitive and boring. Because I think there's like just one map right now,
mode.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, unless you stay in a match the entire time, the next time you queue for it, you're probably going to be right at the beginning again. And then it's like, okay, I'm doing the same stage. This is the only stage I've played so far, right? I'm bored of this. So I don't know. People say it's good for like doing weapon challenges and stuff, like camos, because you get a bunch of kills.
I saw a tweet, that someone was like, this is really fun.
But also, it's like, I don't know how much time they actually spent doing that. Like, you could probably level your gun. Maybe you can level your gun even more in 6s or Ground War or Zombies. I don't know. So I think they're just saying, oh, look, I got 180 kills. It's like, well, yeah, you just played war mode for 40 minutes. Like, yeah. Okay. Right. So I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe it is, but it's fine. It's whatever. I'd be more interested when they add more maps.
Yeah.
And then, Cutthroat.
Yeah.
I played a 1 match. It was like at the end of the day, so I was done. I was like, okay, I'll play 1 match of it. I was using a grenade launcher mostly too. I played on, I think it was Invasion we were on. And it was boring. That's, I think, the only way to put it. So like Jake and Bandit hyped it up so much. Maybe it's fun if you guys are like trying and everyone's like using their little kit and you got strategy, and as you play the maps more and learn them more. But it was just, so there were like 2 flags basically, and it's 3v3v3. You get downed, you can move when you're down like Warzone, your teammates can revive you or someone can full you. So you get down, but it's multiplayer, so you immediately get fulled every time. So everyone just sits somewhere. And if someone does move, it doesn't matter. You don't hear them because everyone runs covert sneakers. No footstep audio is a skill gap, by the way, for sure. Yeah. Some guy just running by me and I can't hear him. Yeah, that adds a skill gap to the game. Fuck you, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Tanner.
It doesn't matter. We have to test out how many times we could say it. That's 2. I bet we could say it up to 5, 6.
Yeah, but we shouldn't say it at all, but because that way, maybe right when we upload it, we don't have to request a review if we're squeaky clean the whole time. I want to see if that happens.
Yeah,
that's
so
more ad rev. But anyway,
the only time people were moving, it didn't matter. It seemed like they weren't actually moving because you don't ever hear anything, so you don't know where anyone's coming from. And since it's 3v3v3, there's no flow to it, so it's like I don't know where this guy's coming from. But then since there are flags, right? We killed one team. We're moving through the map. We can't find the other team. So Bandit's like, oh, they're probably on the flag. Smile, I turn around the corner, I look at the flag. There's just some guy laying prone in a corner watching the flag. Wow.
Yeah.
Really fun game mode. Awesome. So
it's
it was
actually
a
just the
total
gulag with
snooze.
extra steps.
Yeah, it was completely boring and also not fun. I'll for sure try it again at some point, but I was not feeling it at all. Maybe it's very map specific too. Some maps could be a lot better. But yeah, it's just people laying in corners watching flags. Not interesting at all. Today's episode is brought to you by the Dropshot, which is us, podcast you're listening to. This is our own ad. Listen, if you've been thinking about joining the Patreon, I know we keep saying this. It's the best time. It's an excellent time. MW3 launch week is here. Join at the gold tier, guys. Only $5 a month, early access, ad-free public episodes, 3 COD-related bonus episodes every single month. And you get the whole back catalog, every episode we've ever recorded. It's all on there. We already know what we're doing this month. First episode, we're going to start off with a nice little multiplayer brainstorm. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the guns, the streaks, the perks. We're going to figure it out together, guys, you know. $10 a month, you can get the platinum tier. Everything in gold alongside a Q&A episode where you can ask the worst questions in the world, decent questions maybe, and hear the answers, you know. Damascus, $20 a month gets you all of that plus a behind-the-scenes episode, a monthly Damascus-only patron hangout, and access to the Damascus Lounge, which is worth the price of admission, the most lit channel in Discord. So listen, guys, if you're sick of hearing ads, sign up for the Patreon. Now back to the show.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next point here. The reason I haven't played Ground War or Cutthroat or the War mode is because these are not conducive to progressing my character and my unlocks for different reasons.
Yep.
So the reason I don't play Search and Destroy is because it's not a respawn mode. Psych. The reason I don't play Search and Destroy is because it isn't fun. But also because it's not a respawn mode. So if I'm trying to grind headshots, if I need 15 headshots, I'd have to play 3 games of Search probably to do that. Probably more, actually. I don't know. I don't play Search much, but it's not a respawn mode. You're not going to get much weapon XP. You're not going to complete camo challenges. Maybe the weapon XP balances out, but you're not going to complete as many challenges for sure. I can get more headshots in 20 minutes of Hardpoint than I can in 20 minutes of Search and Destroy. Same thing is the case for Cutthroat. Not a respawn mode. Can't grind camos or weapon levels very easily. See ya. Done. But Raz, that doesn't explain why you haven't played Ground War. Well, that brings us to the next point, which is the new Armory Challenge unlock system. So Tanner and I talked about this in our last episode when we were going over that blog post about, it was the 5th or 6th pre-launch blog post. I don't remember which. Well, it was the Not Zombies one, actually. It was the Gunsmith one. And they were talking about the Armory system. We read all of what they said and didn't understand how it worked. And they, unsurprisingly, explained how it actually works very poorly. So here's how it works in case you haven't played the game yet or are still undecided on whether you're going to buy it or not. Hey, you're listening to a podcast about Call of Duty. Of course, you're going to buy the game if you're listening. So just buy it already instead of trying to decide whether you should or not this entire year. You think for the entire year you're never going to buy it, just get it over with and stop thinking about it, and certainly stop asking other people about it. Anyways, here's how it works. Once you hit level 25, you unlock Armory challenges. And Armory challenges are, well, the Armory unlock system, really. So basically you go into the Armory thing, and you have a bunch of stuff that's locked, and they split into categories. So for a weapon, you have to get, depending on the weapon, you have to get 8 Armory tokens or like 3 or whatever. So the number of Armory tokens you need to earn varies depending on what you want to unlock within a category and across categories. So some weapons might cost 3, some might cost 8. This is also how you unlock most of the kill streaks in the game. You go through the Armory system and you use Armory tokens to unlock a VTOL jet. So a VTOL jet might cost 5 Armory tokens or whatever. This is also how you unlock a bunch of the lethals, like a Semtex, tacticals, like a decoy grenade, field upgrades, like a trophy system, and aftermarket parts as well. So like a conversion kit for a marksman rifle or something to make it full auto or whatever. So there are a bunch of things, including perks. I don't know if I mentioned that. Maybe the most important one is perks. So if you want to run covert sneakers, you have to do the Armory system. You have to spend 3 Armory tokens or whatever to unlock a perk. So then you might ask, okay, well, that's weird. If I just hit level 55, I don't have to worry about any of this, though. That's what we thought based on that blog post. We were wrong, though.
Very wrong, yeah.
And in fact, not only is it possible, but it's almost certain that you will hit max level 55, and still have perks locked that you can't use. So it's not an either or system. If something is listed as locked in the Armory and unlockable through Armory tokens, that is the only way you can unlock that thing. It's not in the level 1 to 55 unlock progression path. You have to use the Armory tokens to unlock most of the kill streaks, most of the field upgrades, most of the equipment, about half of the perks, and about a third of the guns. You only unlock it through the Armory system. So that's crazy because it's not either or. You have to do it through the system. Then the question is obviously, well, how do you get Armory tokens to progress toward unlocking these things? You do daily challenges. So you log in, you have 3 daily challenges. They're random. So blind 2 operators with a flash grenade. That's a daily challenge. If you do that, then boom, you have 1 token that automatically gets applied to whatever Armory thing you're on. So it automatically pings it. That's 1 daily challenge, 1 token. Now, if you only get 3 daily challenges a day, so if you do all 3 daily challenges, luckily, you can still keep earning tokens, but the way to earn tokens after that, after you've done all your dailies for the day, is to win multiplayer games. So if you win a match of something, that's 1 token. Boom. And there are ways to unlock tokens to earn tokens in zombies as well, but we're not going to go over that yet because we haven't played zombies at all.
Yeah.
So like if you do contracts, I think in zombies, you get a token, but we'll talk more about that later. But once you've done all your dailies, then the only way to earn a token and start earning perks or guns is to win games of multiplayer. That's why I haven't been playing Ground War, because guess what? 6's hardpoint, that match ends a lot faster than a game of Ground War does. This is why I haven't been playing Ground War. That's annoying. I would like to play Ground War, but I also don't have most of the perks in the game, even though I'm level 51. So I'm not doing that. And also, I'm going to be on the camo grind. And there are 12 weapons, maybe more, actually, in the Armory system, many of which take 5+ tokens. So I've got a lot of games to win before I can unlock Interstellar. I don't have Interstellar, unfortunately, by the way.
That's unfortunate.
So this system is getting a lot of flack on the TL. Now, I will say, one thing I do like about this system is that for the first time since BO4, I can play a pub match and I actually care about winning because I need to unlock perks and weapons in the game. So for the first time since BO4, and the only reason I cared in BO4 was because I trash talked everyone, winning didn't matter to me after that. Lobbies didn't stay together. SBMM, I didn't care. It didn't matter. Now, when I play 6s, I really care about winning. And that actually does kind of make the game more fun, frankly. When you're trying to cap B, you're trying to get the hard point. It's also frustrating if you're a solo player because sometimes your team is just trash and there's nothing you can do about it. But it also incentivizes 6 stacking. We don't lose when we 6 stack. So that's a very good way to fly through the Armory system.
Yeah, my win rate's like 1.81, I think.
Yeah, dude, mine is
yesterday.
really high too. Yeah. But the downside of the system, obviously, is that again, if you play solo, this is a big hindrance to you because you're probably going to win on average 50% of your games. And to unlock all the weapons alone, that's probably 100 tokens, maybe, I would say, actually.
Just the guns?
Yeah.
Probably
to
somewhere
unlock all
around
the
there,
guns, how many
75
tokens
to
do you think
100.
that
Yeah.
is?
Because I think there are like 4 or 5 of them probably that are the 8 tokens.
Yeah. And then a lot of them are 5 as well.
So I think there's 8, 5, and 3. Yeah.
So let's call it 100 for just quick maths. You need to earn 100 tokens to unlock all the guns if you like wanted to do the camo challenge for this, for example, or just experience all the content in the video game that you paid $70 for. So you need to do that. And if you're a solo player, you can expect to win 50% of your pub's games, especially with EOMM or SBMM or whatever. Let's say each game takes 10 minutes. Okay. That is going to be 10 minutes times 2, because you're only going to win half your games, 20 minutes, times 100 is, what is that? 2,000 minutes just to unlock all the guns in the game. How many hours is 2,000 minutes? I don't know. But it's a lot. Let's do some quick math. 2,000 over 60. That's 33.3 hours of gameplay time. So by the way, that's longer than a full day of existing, except you're gaming the entire time and then you still haven't unlocked all the weapons. That's really bad. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, because I want to get Tanner's thoughts, obviously. Yeah, play zombies just like last year, and we'll make this PSA again. You know how we always said in DM, or we've been saying recently, oh, we don't buy Black Cell, but we still want the new guns right away. Instead of getting it at level 40 in the battle pass, just load into one game of DMZ, kill some terrible team, pick up their guns, and if you extract with it, you unlock it. Luckily, that is true for zombies in this game as well. So you can, instead of spending 8 tokens on whatever, the Wasp Stinger or whatever it's called, you can simply load into zombies, buy the Stinger off the wall, and then extract, and you will have it unlocked. I strongly recommend you guys do this to unlock everything, and this works for tacticals and lethals ostensibly as well.
Yep.
Definitely for weapons. This is going to be way faster than playing for 33 in-game hours to just win and get the tokens. So that's one saving grace, but still it makes people who don't care at all about zombies, it forces them to go play that mode. And it also ruins the experience for their teammates because you just leave, but maybe the guy you queued with on your squad really wants to do lore or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, because with tacticals and lethals, by the way, you just stuff them in your rucksack, not a backpack. It's a rucksack, guys. Get with it.
It's a rucksack.
And then when you extract with all of those, when you survive, because you won't die in the first zone. If you do, I guess Call of Duty is too hard of a game for you. Yeah, I don't know how you could do that. But if you do die in like the first zone, you just stop playing the game. So you can extract with all of those in your rucksack. So you can put Semtex, Molotov, Flash, Stun, whatever you need. Leave the match after 15 minutes or whenever you get everything, and then you have all those unlocked. So instead of having to play a bunch of matches and then also win those matches, you already just have it done. So that's good. You know what I just thought of, though? I wasn't thinking this. You still have to... No, you don't have to have the Armory unlock set. Because I was like, if I'm extracting with the Semtex, do I have to go in and select that's the Armory unlock I'm working on? When you extract with it, not for zombies, right? It's just you extract with something, you should have it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, that would suck if I choose a gun and I couldn't find that gun. But yeah, it's just what you extract with. So another thing for tokens that you can do, you get daily challenges and weekly challenges for multiplayer and zombies. So if you do all your multiplayer ones, you finish those, you get the bonus challenge done and all that. Then you can go play zombies and then stack your daily and weekly challenges. So like I've had dailies the last couple of days, I just haven't done it because I haven't played zombies, but it's like get 200 kills with assault rifles. That's 1 token right there. That's not hard in zombies. 200 kills would not take that long. So if you finish all your challenges,
different dailies
you can then go into
right?
zombies and do that to get more XP and then more armory unlock. So that, I think, is the strategy for sure, to do both of them.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, just grab as much as you can in zombies and extract with it. It just sucks that everyone playing zombies right now, mostly, it seems like they're playing it to do armory unlocks and to level up guns, which kind of ruins the whole experience. Because it's like no one's actually playing it for what it's supposed to be.
Players. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's what's unfortunate about that. But yeah, the armory system's insane, of course. I feel really bad for people who play like solo a lot and just aren't very good. Like, how are you going to unlock guns? What a total turnoff to casual players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I mean, what if you don't even realize you have to select the armory challenges, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Some guy's probably like passively just playing some boomer, and he's just passively playing and thinking he's going to unlock them. He looked at the armory tabs, like, oh, okay, I got to win some games. No, you don't, buddy. You got to select all those, right? He's been playing for 3 days straight. He hasn't selected a single one. That person exists.
Or, even worse, he has a daily challenge to flash 2 operators, but he doesn't use flashes. He doesn't pay attention to his daily challenges either. So since he doesn't do that one, he doesn't even earn a token for getting a win in multiplayer, because you have to have done all your dailies first for that to kick in. So he can play for 6 hours and earn 0 tokens.
Yeah. So he's playing the game all day and not unlocking anything and doesn't realize it. It's a really horrible system for casual players. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I didn't even think about that.
It's confusing for casual players. They don't understand what's going on. And for sweats and skill-based matchmaking, it makes the game worse because everyone's trying so hard, right? Because they want to win.
Yeah.
So it's super sweaty now because of that. Awesome. Just what we need. Sweatier on top of already having skill-based matchmaking. Lovely. Fun.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Overall, terrible, not worth having. However, again, the one nicety of it is that I care about winning, and so does the other team, and that does make it more fun. If I'm 6 stack, or even in pubs, it kind of makes it more fun, honestly. It does make it more fun, but that isn't worth all of the negatives it has, as Tanner pointed out nicely. So, by the way, just a couple quick PSAs for you guys. What should you spend your tokens on then? Basically, if you're going to use the zombie strat, which I strongly encourage you to do, it's going to save you so much time. You should use your armory tokens on things you cannot take out of zombies. What are those things? Perks. You can't extract with perks in zombies. You could have Juggernog or whatever, but I'm talking about like covert sneakers, and Ghost, assault gloves. These things you can't find in zombies. So you should definitely spend tokens on that because there's no other way to get them. All the perks. There's also a tab called aftermarket parts. I'm pretty sure you can't extract from zombies with these. If you can, it would be very hard to do. It would have to be a specific gun with that attachment. And even then, I don't know if that would work. So I think aftermarket parts
I don't know about that.
Are a safe unlock, safe thing to spend your tokens on. And then I guess kill streaks as well, because you can't come out with all kill streaks. You probably can't come out with any. So that's another thing you can only get with tokens. So spend your tokens on that. And then maybe another thing too would be field upgrades. Although there are field upgrades in zombies, right? Like trophy systems. Can you find those? Maybe you can.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Basically, spend your tokens on things you can't get extract with in zombies and unlock that way. That's basically the PSA. And I'm glad we did this episode today because I didn't think of that until right now.
Yeah.
And again, imagine the casual who doesn't have a darn tootin' podcast about it.
Yeah.
You know, That's really unfortunate for that guy. But another, by the way, PSA, make sure you do your weekly challenge for this week. Are there different weekly challenges for zombies?
Yes.
So is there a weekly challenge? So the weekly challenge for multiplayer, if you do 5 out of 7 of them, you unlock an aftermarket part, the jack conversion kit.
Uh-huh.
Ostensibly, you need that
yeah.
for like a camo grind. Or maybe not.
No.
Is the reward different in zombies? Is it a different conversion kit? Or like a gun or something?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I wonder what the reward is, though.
Maybe you just get the armory unlocks then.
I'm going to check right now.
I don't know.
But that's weird. But anyways, at least for multiplayer, make sure you do your weekly, because that's, you have to like, it's not obvious. So on the main menu, and in the lobby, you see your list of daily challenges. So it's very obvious that you should do that, and you're prompted right away. The weekly challenge has no such prompting. You won't know what they are unless you explicitly go look for it. So go to the top right, click on the 6 squares icon, and then press on weekly challenges, and then do 5 of those to unlock that jack conversion kit. Because that goes away in a week, and then it becomes like more cumbersome to unlock next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, just make sure you do that is my point. And I'm going to check zombies for you guys right now. So let me see. Let's see. I'm in the UI, so let me
good luck,
think. Man. Yeah, thanks.
That UI.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm here. Now I'm clicking on the 6 boxes, challenges, weekly. Okay, there is the weekly challenge. The weekly challenges are different? Oh, okay. So you only have to do 5 out of a total of 14 weekly challenges.
So zombies just counts towards it.
Correct.
Oh, that makes it even easier then, because if like some challenges are actually too difficult for you, go into zombies. It'll probably be like get 20 headshots with a sniper rifle against base zombies.
Get 250 kills with a recommended weapon. I mean, that's so free.
And every weapon.
Get 100 kills with a silenced AR.
Yeah.
Yeah. So between those challenges and multiplayer, you can do 5 out of 14, and you unlock the Giga unlock.
And then you're just
Jack
getting
Raven
armory
kit.
Unlocks past that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to check on that. But yeah, just another little quick PSA for you guys. All right. So now we will move into Tanner's next point here.
Yeah, real quick stats. So detailed stats are in the game. It's solid. I've been using it a couple times. There's not so much info that it's overwhelming at all. And I feel like that's how Vanguard was. Again, I barely use Vanguard, so I remember looking at it a few times and I was like, the detail and the amount of stats they give me is just overwhelming. And maybe it actually wasn't. Maybe it's the same we have now, but now the UI is so clean. It's nice. It's laid out. It's pretty to look at. And it was not in Vanguard. It looked like something like on your computer, you open up Notepad and start typing on it. That's what the Vanguard detailed stats menu looked like. It was horrible, right? So now it's super clean, and I find myself using it. So that'll be nice to have, especially when we get Warzone. That'll be really nice to have. Assuming we get that in Warzone. Maybe we don't even. Maybe that's only in multiplayer. I wonder. Because if this is only in multiplayer, then I'm going to just not care about it, which is unfortunate.
That's a good question.
I just figured it would be, because like when you go to the attachments, you just press a button and it shows the stats, but maybe that button won't even be available in Warzone. That'll be a huge L, and so probably that's how they'll do it. There probably won't be detailed stats in Warzone.
I think it's going to depend on whether Warzone is played from MW3 or MW2.
Well, I mean, it's like played from
MW3.
I think it'll be from MW3 pretty much.
I hope so.
I think
because right now it's not.
Yeah, right now you have to relaunch the launcher and everything. Yeah.
Correct.
So I think I don't think it'll be that way once the integration happens, but we'll see. But yeah, it's nice. Good. It's real easy to see. It shows, it highlights something green if it got better with what you put on, and it highlights something red if it got worse, and it tells you the difference it makes. So really, really useful. Like when I was looking at like barrels, I was like, oh, you know, this barrel decreases ADS speed. And then I look and I'm like, oh, it's not that much. Then also I'm stuck thinking this is MW2. It's not. The base ADS speeds are so fast that I can take that hit and I don't even notice it.
Yeah.
And, you know, for that hit, I got an extra 6 meters of max damage range. That's pretty nice to have too on a lot of these big maps. So
Yeah.
I recommend you guys checking that out. It's not overwhelming. It's not confusing.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it much. I haven't looked into the detailed stats at all. I've only been using the carrot system that they've been using, which, if that is reflective of what's actually going on, if 1 carrot for a gun, for example, for damage range, gives me an extra 5 meters, but 2 carrots gives me an extra 10, then I'm going to be very happy with how the gunsmith works.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually looked into that enough yet. But the carrot system, if it is accurate, is great.
Yeah.
And it's far more believable because this is not an Infinity Ward product, and Infinity Ward isn't a development studio. So,
True.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to move into our last section here, which is probably the section you've all been waiting for, which is basically when we're playing the game itself, what are our impressions on it?
Gameplay mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. Tell us about this first one.
Visibility sucks. It's worse than MW2. Most of the maps don't have color. Some of them do. It's not good to look at. Skins constantly blend into the background, especially the Gaia skin. I mean, you actually just can't see it at times. There's too much haze. There's too much fog on some of the maps that I talked about. High Rise, Rust. Then you get a good map like Underpass where it's sunny, and I see everything, of course. So let's just, make them all daytime, make them all sunny. We don't need to have it look depressing, right? Just make it look better. It got better from the beta, but it's like after seeing all the maps, it's still just bad on a lot of them. Even Terminal, for example. Why do I really dislike Terminal and Dom is because one of the flags you have to cap, when you come up that escalator, there's a planter in front of that, right? Everyone head glitches that planter.
Dude.
You cannot see them. I'm not exaggerating.
Through the little
you cannot
bushes.
see them through the bushes.
True.
So that goes into the problem of the visibility in the game and the head glitches in the game. That's everything. When someone's on a head glitch, the visibility is non-existent. Maybe you kind of see their diamond, maybe not. But it's, yeah, for the most part, visibility is not the best. I mean, a step back from MW2, probably still better than, definitely better than like Verdansk 84 ever was, for sure. But
for sure, yeah.
It kind of just reminds me more of MW19. A lot of gloom, ugly things blend in.
Yeah. So a couple things about the visibility. I am not mistaking my teammates for enemies anymore.
For sure. That problem was fixed. Yeah.
I don't know I know they added a blue hue to teammates. I think they did something else though, because it never happens to me anymore, which is really nice. So that's an improvement from the beta. In terms of enemies, the visibility sucks sometimes, but it's more like because of the maps rather than because of the character models. So like if someone's on my screen and there's nothing between me and them, I will always see them. Whereas in MW19, that was not necessarily true. So the visibility is, for character models, is like fine. But you're totally right. When people are in that dark corner on Rust, you can't see them. And when they are behind those planters on Terminal, I know exactly what you're talking about because I died to it a couple times today. All you see is a nameplate.
I've stopped going that lane. I just ignore that flag. Yeah. I don't go over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not great. But I will say it's not, the visibility isn't the end of the world in this game for me.
No, it doesn't ruin the game for me. Because, I wouldn't even say most. A lot of the maps it's okay on. It's fine. But like Gaia skin on some maps actually just blends in. And I'm glad people are starting to talk about that. There are a bunch of people on Twitter now that are like, okay, you need to nerf the Gaia skin. Like it actually just blends in with the background. You can't see anything on certain maps. So
yeah.
But then like if it's Terminal, you can see the skin fine, of course. It's just it's all dependent on the lighting pretty much.
Yeah, they need to remove the Gaia skin, I think, actually. Just remove it. I don't know how they make it more visible without just changing the skin.
Make it just glow. Like make the inside of it glow or something bright red so it goes from being the hardest operator to see to actually just the most visible, honestly.
Yeah, because
they're not going to remove it on, obviously.
is you can look through the character model because a lot of it's just empty space. That's not true for any other character model in the game.
Nope.
So unless you fill the empty space, it's still going to be overpowered. Even if they give it a glowing outline again, like they've already done. So they need to like make the inside glow, like, I don't know, green, forest green, to stay in theme or whatever. Better yet, remove it. But yeah, of course they're not going to. But anyway.
Yeah.
My next thing here is on the tack stance. So they changed how the tack stance works, kind of. Or at least, maybe they just changed how the UI shows it. But if that is true, then it's a really good change either way. In the beta, when you were ADS'd, it said like press melee Q for me to switch to tack stance. And it was like right under where you're aiming. So it was really annoying. It didn't really obstruct your aim, but it was just awkward and annoying and ugly to look at.
Mm-hmm.
They now moved the tack stance indication on whether you have it on or not to an icon in the bottom right of your screen under the gun. So it shows two different symbols. One is for regular ADS, one is for tack stance. And once you switch to tack stance, for example, you never have to enter tack stance again. It's toggled on and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Next time you ADS, you'll be in tack stance and it's not going to change unless you manually change it off of tack stance yourself again. You can even switch your weapon and then switch back to that weapon and it will still have tack stance on. So this way also you can have one gun, your primary, tack stance on, switch to your other gun, leave tack stance off, and you can just play the whole match and it'll function that way. Huge, awesome change. Really cool. Very pleased with that. It's nice. It's a clean, clear indicator in the bottom right, and it's totally unobstructive. So this was a great change. Yeah. It could have been just a UI change and it always worked that way, but now it's obvious that it works that way, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's just like tied to the gun. It's just a different way to aim, yeah.
Exactly, yes. And they tied it to the gun, which I really like. One question I have, though, is they still have the canted aiming laser in this game. And I don't know what that does now. If I use the canted aiming laser and I enter tack stance or leave tack stance, what changes? I don't know. Doesn't really matter, but it's kind of weird that that's still in the game.
Yeah,
and then another thing
wonder.
It's weird, right?
Because I was using one, it was a new laser, because it helped with tack stance spread, I saw. And when you don't use tack stance, it was super bright, super visible. And then when you go into tack stance, it's like it's meant to be one of those lasers. So I wonder how the MW2 ones perform. Maybe you can ADS with them like normal now on MW3 guns. I haven't tested it, so I don't know. It's weird. I never will test it, so I'm not sure.
It still has a green caret that says canted laser aiming.
Oh.
So I don't know what that means now that we have tack stance, because you can canted laser aim with any gun now, technically. You shouldn't, but you can. So I don't know why that's a pro now, but it lists it that way. So that's weird. And then another thing is, I've been hearing differing reports than my experience. So I had one of the weekly challenges for that Jack Raven kit is to get, oh no, maybe it's just a daily I had. I had a daily to get 30 tack stance kills. I farted. And then I had also an SVA that's max level. And the last base camo for assault rifles is to get 25 tack stance kills. So I said, oh, perfect. I'll kill two birds with one stone. So I built the SVA, which is the first assault rifle. And I put all tack stance spread attachments on it. So I went like full tack stance build. And I played 2 matches with this. And I got my 30 kills in 2 matches. But boy, is it terrible and not good also. And I don't know if this is because of the gun or because I have to be putting on velocity attachments also or something, but the hit reg with it felt terrible. There was one death I had where I swear I'm like maybe 15 meters from the guy. I'm tack stance ADS on him and I'm just hitting like half of the bullets and then I die. And I was like, this is awful and not worth using at all on an assault rifle. But then like Tanner and a couple other people in Discord were like, I don't know, tack stance was pretty good with assault rifles for me. So I don't know if they meant that it's easy enough to get 25 kills for the camo, which is of course true. It's easy enough to get kills.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Or if they meant it's like good.
Well, it's not good. It's not good at all. No, it's not good.
Okay.
It's easy to do the challenge. It's easy to get the kills. I mean, there's never a realistic reason to use tack stance aside from doing the camo challenges. No one's going to use it in Warzone. It won't be utilized whatsoever. I'm certain. I
wonder
of that.
if it would be for SMGs though.
No,
I wonder.
I don't think so. I would rather ADS
fire builds.
Yeah, some, not really, but they have to be really good hipfire builds to use them, and even then, a lot of people don't. I mean, it has to be like the most broken SMG, and then also have no hipfire spread, and people use it. But, I don't think it'll ever get used in Warzone. But,
okay,
what was I gonna say? So the amount that your reticle expands when you're shooting, it's totally fake news. You have to go into the firing range and test it. It spreads out way more than that. So that's what you're for sure experiencing. Because I would test the guns in the firing range and I would look at how it works. It spreads way further. It's 100% fake news. So the
bloom is just fake.
Yeah, okay. It makes you seem like it's going to be very accurate, but it's not at all. It's just it's basically like, it's a little bit better than hip firing.
Perfectly explain my experience.
So yeah, it's like you can't, the ranges you use it at, it's all ranges you'd use like an SMG at. Like you'll get kills, you know, like, oh my God, I don't know how I got that kill. Like you'll get those occasionally, like 30 meters or something like that, but it doesn't happen often. Like you would have killed faster and hit way more shots if you had been ADSing, of course. But it's easy to do the challenges, and it's something I'll never use once I'm done with the challenges, for sure.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because that was my experience. That bloom being fake news, that perfectly explains my experience, actually. Because I was like, dude, there's no way I missed half of those. But okay, that makes sense. And then another thing is the tack sprint change from beta to launch. So like, this was making the rounds on Twitter. Basically in the beta, you would be tack sprinting, you would slide, cancel, and then you could just be tack sprinting right away again. But then on launch, that was just not true anymore. So you would be tack sprinting, you would slide cancel, and then you just can't tack sprint out of the slide cancel. Like it just was not happening for anyone. And a lot of people were complaining on Twitter about this. And then Sledgehammer tweeted right before we started this podcast, we're aware of this issue and we're working to fix it. So that ostensibly is going to go back to how it worked in the beta, where you can, tack sprint like out of a slide, or the delay doesn't happen or whatever. I was going to explain how it worked, but it doesn't matter now since they're patching it. So we'll explain how it works once the fix is in. The fact that they're fixing it and that they responded a day after launch to these complaints, very pleased with that. Very happy with that. Now, again, every dev studio fixes the game pretty quickly in the first month of launch. So I'm not going to give them too much credit, but credit where it is due. This is good that they're doing that and they're listening to community feedback. One question I have, though, is, was this a bug or was this intended? Just like the bunny hopping got nerfed from beta to launch of MW2, and they just never said anything about it again.
Yeah, so that's what's funny, because a bunch of people were saying like, well, this has to be a bug because they didn't say anything about it in the patch notes. It's like, have you never played COD?
That's hilarious.
You're on Twitter tweeting about how they made the changes from MW2 beta to launch and didn't say anything, and then you're saying, oh, well, Sledgehammer didn't say anything, so it must be a bug. No. All of the studios do this. Infinity Ward is just the worst at it by far. All of the studios do this. They leave out stuff constantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do wonder. And I wonder when they say a fix is in progress, but why is it taking you so long to fix? Because they're saying things like this change is currently in the testing. Once confirmed that it operates as intended, it'll be deployed. So, well, how does it take this long to fix something that was just in the beta? How did it get broken that way going to launch? And now you're like, oh, we're testing a fix. I guarantee you right now it will perform differently than the beta did.
That's what I'm thinking too.
It will perform, and everyone's going to be furious, and everyone's going to be on, oh, Sledgehammer lied to us. Yeah, the COD studios lie. They sure do, man. None of them are good. Get used to it.
Welcome to the Dropshot of Call of Duty podcast, where we expose these shenanigans. They've been doing it for a long time. Man.
So that's what I think. I bet it'll perform worse than the beta. Yeah.
I think I agree with you almost. I think that's almost certainly going to be the case, is that it's going to be better than it was before that tweet, but not as good as it was in beta.
Yeah.
That's my expectation. Mm-hmm. So we'll see, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then of course
we'll talk more about that once we know what the change is exactly.
On the movement, of course, there were no other changes. Dolphin diving still useless. Fun fact, you still can't mantle through any windows. That's been broken since MW 2019. You still can't do it. You see a window that has glass and you want to mantle through it. I died today. And somebody's shooting you in the back. That sucks. You're just going to die. They still haven't figured out. The game devs still have not figured out how to let your character model mantle through a window. I mean, come on. Just figure it out. Do it. Yeah. Make them work. So that's fun and exciting.
Pretty easy.
Can't wait for that to be all over the place on the Warzone map. All over the place. And that take a year to fix. Smile, by that point, the next big map is out. And then it's going to have the same problem again because Call of Duty. Yeah. So that sucks. But yeah, so dolphin diving is still useless. You still can't bunny hop. So, I mean, again, like MW2, the game, the movement mechanics actually just got worse from beta to launch. We're just going to see how much to what degree they change this tack sprint after sliding. That's what we'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. So, next thing is hit reg. It's been broadly okay for me, but I do feel like there are times where I'm landing shots and they are not regging. And I wonder if it's just bad hit reg or low velocity or something. I don't really know. For the most part, it's okay, but I am going to try putting on high velocity attachments and seeing how it feels then. Because it does feel like some of my bullets just aren't getting there in time, and that's why I'm not getting reg. But it usually only happens to me at distance. So that's what's making me think it's velocity. But someone in chat said, maybe it was Absolute that said it. We should explain it. But someone in chat said the base velocity for most ARs is around 800, which is higher than previous games. So that wouldn't make sense. I don't know. I got to look into it. Tanner also says he's experienced a lot of dying around corners. I don't know if I've experienced it that much. If I have, I haven't noticed it really. So that's kind of interesting. But you have been dying around them corners.
I mean, that's how it feels. Yeah, it's hard to actually be certain unless you watch a clip and see how it happens. A lot of it is probably because since the game overall is faster movement, if you start a slide, by the time it registers on my end that I'm actually dead, I feel like I'm way around the corner because I'm mid-slide, but in reality, I'm just not. Because it takes a second for the game to register that I'm dead and my screen to go black, basically. So I don't know, but it certainly feels that way all the time.
Yeah.
And Treyarch games always feel like this. And I'm thinking now, I wonder if it has something to do with a longer time to kill. You're getting hit, I get to a corner, I feel like I'm going to be around it. Maybe something to do with that, because Treyarch games all have miserable hit reg. It feels like you die around corners. So maybe it's something to do with that.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But or it could just be these maps have so many different little weird locations you can see people from. Somebody had like a weird angle. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't feel great because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have more to say on that as we play more. So,
yeah.
And to be fair, also, some people in Twitter, or excuse me, in our Discord have been saying that too. Like lag comp, Spidey Shelf just mentioned. Edgy was saying like it feels like there's a ton of lag comp in this game. I'm not gonna explain what that is, but basically that would also account for hit reg feeling bad or it feeling like you die around corners. Lag comp would do that. So Tanner's not the only one to feel this way. So maybe I just haven't noticed it that much, but we'll talk more about it if it continues to be an issue for sure. So next is the weapons. So yeah, the Tanner's first noticed snipers are busted. I have not used a sniper since the beta, but I have died to some snipers. And I'm not sure I've been shot by a sniper and not died. So most of them are one-shotting me most of the time. And also, I have died probably, not that many people are using them in multiplayer for me yet, but I've still died a decent amount of times to a sniper who I am shooting at and landing bullets on. That makes me kind of nervous. Because if there's flinch when you're being shot, I shouldn't be getting hit by someone sniping me if I'm landing bullets on them. Not as bad as Cold War, has not happened to the same degree. And I would say most of the time I'm landing shots on a sniper, he's not able to hit me. But I have been hit by a sniper I'm shooting at. An alarming number of times, you know, maybe not a red alert, but maybe a yellow alert, maybe a DEFCON 2. Yeah. So that's interesting, but I haven't used any myself yet.
That's where I'm at.
One-shot snipers in a game with a slower TTK are better, so be careful, you know?
Yeah, I also haven't tried them, but I've died a lot. I'll see glint, I'll start shooting at someone, I'll get 3 hit markers across the map. I mean, they'll be, you know, like 50, 60 meters away and still kill me. And I don't watch the kill cams half the time in multiplayer, I just immediately skip so I can respawn. And there's a reason K-Band players don't want to watch kill cams, of course. So I don't know what's happening most of the time, but one time, like, you asked that, or somebody said something about, like, flinch. So I watched the next kill cam. I was like, it did look like there were a lot of flinch, but it's like he was able to get back on target so quickly. I don't know. But I'll see how it feels when I'm using them. But right now, I guess you could kind of say it feels jarring going from dying to ARs at 150 health and then getting one shot constantly. It makes it feel like they're a lot more busted when the time to kill is slower in general.
That's true.
So that may be just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, some of the other guns. So, yeah, I pretty much only use assault rifles. I'm just working my way down the list. Since the camos are all... There's nothing, like, super toxic. I'm just working my way down the list, right? And then also, I won't have camos done by Warzone integration, probably. So I'd rather have, like, ARs and SMGs, all that done first. But I have noticed SMGs seem bad compared to some of the past games. It's no more... So far, it feels like no more like MW19, shooting people across the map with an SMG. SMGs feel like they have a substantial damage drop-off. Like, they feel like you can only use them as SMGs, and that's it. Like, within 10 meters, and that's it, and they're unusable at any other range. That's what it seems like to me the times I've used it. Yeah, and ARs feel... So, I said this in the beta too, none of the guns feel like super rewarding and fun, and I still just feel that way. They all just feel like okay. I don't know, I haven't found like a gun yet that's like very fun to use, like very satisfying feeling. I would say the most satisfying so far is the Holger AR, because that gun 3 shots if you get a headshot, and no other gun can do that, I don't think. In fact, the Holger 5.56 was already banned by the little leagues that are already doing tournaments and whatnot. It was immediately banned because it kills that much faster. So that one felt rewarding because when people are on head glitches, you can actually win those gunfights, right? That's
Yeah.
what I liked about that, but it'll probably
I'm
be
hoping
nerfed.
battle rifles this year fill that slot.
Bass B felt good from the times I've used it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like really heavy hitting, slow handling, lots of recoil. Yeah. I don't know though. Yeah, like I'm in the same boat as you. I've only used ARs. So I don't really know. I will say though, like I don't die to SMGs much.
No, never.
And when I do, they're pretty close to me. Yeah. So we'll have a lot more to say about the weapons when, later, basically, because we have to try them all. We have to try them with attachments. We have to be shot by all of them. Like right now, I haven't seen anyone using a shotgun yet. And I've played a lot of hours since launch. No one's like working on shotguns yet.
Seems like everyone
really.
else is just going down the list because the number one gun I died to still is just the first assault rifle. Yeah. And then other assault rifles mostly. So I think everyone's just starting at the top and going down.
Exactly. So yeah, it's hard for me to talk. Everything I said about the weapons for the beta review, I stand by basically. Yeah. And so we'll have more to say as the game goes on, but yeah, now we'll get into perks. So these are vests, gloves, boots, and gear. One thing worth noting is oh fuck, what was it? Shoot. What was I gonna say?
I don't know. Vest, glove, gear.
Oh, the tactical pads got nerfed. So they changed the tactical pads from beta to launch. They actually talked about this too. Instead of the tactical pads, which are boots, giving you a farther slide, you instead get a faster velocity slide. I've used tactical pads post-launch. I definitely noticed tactical pads not letting me slide as far as they used to. I'm not noticing increased slide velocity, though. The velocity feels the same.
That's what I tested and didn't notice a difference.
Yeah. Now, it also has you change stances faster, so you can drop shot more quickly. That was noticeable in the beta. I haven't really thought about it, but that's probably still true. And also you can ADS while sliding. Let me be clear, that almost never matters. I'm very rarely like trying to shoot while ADS'd while sliding. I'm usually sliding to... I'm usually shooting out of a slide, so maybe I am getting a bullet or two I wouldn't otherwise. I don't know. That doesn't matter to me that much. But anyway, tactical pads overall were nerfed, so that's just a quick note, because I don't think any other perks have really been changed since launch.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. And then a lot of perks I haven't tried because they're in the Armory unlock system, Smile. So, like the marksman gloves, for example, I don't have. Because that's been on the back burner, haven't unlocked it yet.
Yeah.
But from the perks we've run, what vest have you been running?
Yeah, so we talked about that CCT comms vest. That's what I've been using so far. I've been using that for all of yesterday, and I put it on the day before that. So 1.5 days so far. So this is the one where you get a primary and you get a secondary. You get no tactical, you get no lethal. You get boots, gloves, and you get 2 pieces of gear. And what the comms vest does is, one, it zooms out your minimap for yourself, and when teammates are close, they also get that zoomed out minimap. And I was testing this, I know how this works because Bandit was running it first, and I didn't have it. When I was in a certain range of him, probably 10, 15 meters of him maybe, my minimap would be zoomed out. So that alone, a zoomed out minimap, is huge to have in multiplayer when red dots actually show up on the minimap.
It gives that to your teammates too?
Yes. Teammates that are close to you.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes. So that's the first thing. Then, when you kill people or when someone else kills people, I think it works if somebody else kills a person. I'm not 100% sure, actually. But if you run over their body, basically they drop like a little scavenger bag. You run over that bag, that does a radar ping in your vicinity, probably again, maybe 15, 20 meters in all directions, a little radar sweep. That is also huge. I cannot tell you how many times I've killed somebody. I'm reloading. I run over the body to grab the pack. And then I see another red dot there. I'm like, oh, I had no idea somebody was here. Boom, easy kill off that. You get so much intel from this vest. So very, very good. Now the downside, of course, no tactical or lethal. And I didn't think I would miss this as much as I would, but I do. I do miss it. Playing a hard point without tacticals and lethals, pretty hard to break a hard point. It's hard. It's hard to push into a hard point when like there are 3 enemies on it when all you have is your gun. You're not killing somebody with this health total before the 3 of them are killing you, right? It's just not going to happen. So it makes it very difficult for that. And then of course, because this game doesn't have quick fix, which we'll touch on a little bit more, you can't run stims either, which I haven't even tried stims yet because I've been using this vest. So this vest is a great example of something that's well balanced because it's very, very good. But I'm still thinking about swapping off of it, even though it's as good as it is, because I feel like I need a tactical and a lethal. So
yeah,
that vest specifically, I think, has great balance to it. You're losing quite a bit, and then you get the 2 gear slots. So
yeah, right, exactly. And that is a big thing. So one of my first Armory unlocks was stims. By the way, stims are there. And since this game doesn't have quick fix, which is insane, stims are really good and important. So I was running stims and then I unlocked this vest and I started running it. And the first and most noticeable thing immediately was not having them again.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it, I miss stims so bad. And I feel like I've gotten used to not having stims and the health regen in this game more now. I feel like I'm waiting for my health to regen less often than I used to. I don't know why exactly that is. I think I'm just either getting desensitized and used to it, or I'm just taking like safer routes after a gunfight because I know I'm weak. And now I'm just in the habit of doing that. I'm not sure what it is, but still, I very much miss not having stims. And this is like a well-balanced vest for that reason. I'll also add, by the way, I have not looked super closely into my perk setup yet and like really done a deep dive brainstorm personally because so much of it is still locked and I'm still not level 55. So I figured I'm not going to spend too much time figuring this out when in 2 matches, I'm going to have an extra perk that changes everything or whatever. So I haven't thought too much about perks. And I definitely will by like next week for sure. But with that said, Tanner was talking about how good this vest is. So I started running it and I'm mainly doing it for the 2 gear slots. Because you have to have EOD because the nade spam is insane in this game. So much worse than I thought it would be with the perk system the way it is. But hopefully that's because people just haven't unlocked all the vests yet. Hopefully the nade spam gets better. I don't know if it will, but it's really bad and annoying. So you have to run EOD basically. And then I also want to be able to run another piece of gear. I actually don't know what my other piece of gear is.
EOD.
Oh, it's mag holster.
Mask. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's mag holster for the faster reload. Yeah. So, I've been running it just because I need faster reload speed. So I need either mag holster or the vest that does it, gunner vest, I think. And then I also need EOD, so I can't run gunner vest because then I can't run. Or no, I could run gunner vest, I guess, and get EOD also, but then I lose boots. CCT comms vest, you don't lose any of those things.
Yeah,
so I think that like
boots.
For what I have access to right now and how little I've thought about it, this does seem to be the strongest. Because the only other thing that could do all that is the engineer vest. But I'd rather get the benefits of the comms vest that Tanner was talking about than the benefits of the engineer vest, which is seeing claymores that are locked behind an armory system, so no one has them anyway, behind walls. This is much better. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the thing with the gunner vest, that is a good one too. But I don't want to run 2 primaries, so I'm not going to run it because of that. Because I just want to work on my secondaries right now as I go through them. I've got 1 knife gold, been working on the other. I've got the grenade launcher. I think it's almost gold now, or maybe it is gold. Or no, I almost have maybe, I don't remember. But so I've been doing those, so I don't even want to use a primary weapon, but the gunner would be good. And then honestly, yeah, maybe the boots aren't as useful as we kind of thought they were going to be. So maybe that would be the
tactical
go-to
pads
one.
Definitely aren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
That slide distance loss, yeah.
And the only other, like, there's only 2 boots actually that are like maybe worth using. It's that and then lightweight. The other, or well, I guess covert too if you're playing 6s.
Covert or maybe stalker
Yeah,
boots, but I didn't
I
really
don't know.
notice them in the beta, so I don't know about this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna try those.
Maybe
but-
boots aren't as good as you thought.
Yeah.
Or as we thought. You're right.
So maybe it will end up being gunner vest. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that CCT comms vest, you get a lot with it. It's a good vest to have.
Yeah. And didn't you say teammates were dropping packs too?
I thought it was at one point because a teammate died right in front of me, but there was also, I think, an enemy dead there, so maybe it was just that. So I'm not positive that's how it works, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so then the thing with 2 gear slots that you get with the CCT comms vest is great to have because what happened this year? Mag holster is just, you have to run it. You have to run it.
Improved reload speed, yeah.
So if I have some other vest that's not the gunner vest that I don't get improved reload speed, I get 1 gear slot. Okay, no thought put into it. There's 15 pieces of gear. It doesn't matter. I have to run mag holster because I have a 30 round mag in a game with 150 health, and I have an awful reload speed. So you have to run it. So mag holster is a no-brainer if you're not running the gunner vest. Like it's you literally have to run it in 6s multiplayer if you're using a full auto gun. You just have to.
Yeah.
So that's super unfortunate. So yeah, I've been running that, and then the other ones I've kind of been experimenting with. Like I've been running bone conduction, which for sure helps in 6s. It helps on certain maps more than others. I think maps that are more vertical, you hear a lot more because it's kind of like Skid Row, for example, is a good one. Because the map's like a solid size, but since a lot of it's going on in the same area, they're either above mid, below mid, kind of in one of those little hallways. It's very easy to tell where people are coming from. And then, on bigger maps, obviously not nearly as good. You don't need it. Like derail, you don't really need bone conduction for, right?
Right.
So it's very map dependent, I would say. So, but I've been going between that and then EOD padding because the tactical and lethal spam is just horrendous right now. And I hope it gets better. A lot of games are like this on launch. As people unlock more, they stop using things like that. That's what I'm hoping we get because the spam is so bad right now that I also kind of feel like EOD padding is a must.
Yeah.
So that's why you kind of just have to run a vest with 2 gear slots, honestly. Or run gunner.
It does feel that way.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think the more we learn about the system, the more I think the balance just isn't nearly as good as we hoped it would be.
Yeah, and we kind of caught on to that with the blog posts.
Yeah.
We were like, maybe this isn't as crazy as good as we thought. Which is, to be fair, that's what we said from the get-go. When these things were leaked, I was like, this could be really good. It depends on how they balance things, though. And right now, I don't know. Hard to say.
And it could be weird, too, because of that article that came out saying how this was supposed to be a pick 10 system. Yeah, so maybe
next episode.
Maybe that totally changed the layout of everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, Infinity
So
War.
the LR detector, which is a piece of gear, I talked about this for our beta episode, and I said I literally don't know what it does. I equipped it again, still don't really know what it does. Tanner explained that it seems to work like high alert, except it only works if the player looking at you has a laser on their gun, and it doesn't show you the visual cue like high alert does with the red color or orange color in a corner of your screen where you're getting looked at. It's rather like an audio buzzing cue.
Yeah, there may have been something
failed
visual,
to notice.
But
yeah. It's miserable, dog poop, and trash, and not worth using. Do not use it.
So it's not high alert. The icon shows it's high alert.
It is not even close to high alert. Yeah.
So do not use it. Totally useless piece of gear.
Correct. And then stuns are too strong. So I have not used tac
They're
mask
insane.
yet. Yeah. they're really good. I have not used Hack Mask yet because I really want EOD and reload speed, so mag holster. But I also really don't want to get stunned. So I don't know. Maybe at some point I will try Tac Mask. But if this is like any Call of Duty game I've played in the last 5 years, it won't help enough anyway. So I wish stuns just did 150 damage so that I didn't have to wait to die. Because once I'm stunned, I'm dead.
They're so strong.
I will die. So you might as well just have them do 150 damage. So just kill me. Just kill me if I get stunned. So that's annoying. And that won't change also, by the way. And then the last thing with this episode and this section is it's crazy that we don't have High Alert as a perk. And it's an L. And it's even more crazy that we don't have Quick Fix. And it's also an L. Now, there is speculation, there are some leaks, that we will be getting perks added to multiplayer throughout the life cycle of the game for like each new season or whatever, which seems plausible. I'm not convinced that that's true, but if it does come to pass, I won't be surprised by it. This wouldn't surprise me. They've added perks post-launch to Warzone. I don't think they've ever done it to multiplayer, but if they started, that wouldn't be terribly surprising. But if they're gonna do that, then they need to get on it now. Add Quick Fix plus High Alert in Season 1, for example. Not having High Alert is bad, but not the end of the world. But in this game, I really want Quick Fix. I would do almost anything to have it. I would give up almost anything to have Quick Fix. And it would really increase the pace of the game having Quick Fix.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've gotten used to the health regen. Unfortunately, you just have to like sit somewhere and wait. It's really annoying though to have. Yeah, and then the thing too, when you're low health, of course, you don't have the same that you have when you're max health less. So it's super fun killing two people, right? And getting a double kill, a jump shot, a headshot. So then I have to sit there. I'm one shot. So my screen is black and white. I'm having 10 medals pop up. So I hear ring, 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 all sorts of rings, all sorts of sounds, as I also just can't hear because I'm low health, right? So then I'm just sitting there waiting to regen health and the medals to stop, and then some guy sprints around the corner and kills me that I don't hear because the game has too much audio pollution as normal. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, we need Quick Fix, so for sure, I agree. Yeah. It's insane we don't have Quick Fix or High Alert. I still just keep thinking like crazy. LR detector has to be High Alert and it's just bugged. That's
I don't why I tried it again, dude.
There's no way. There's no way they made a perk that only goes off when someone aims a laser at you, right? Like there's no way they thought that was a decent idea. That must be the worst
perk ever added to Call of Duty.
It really is down there.
I can't think
it's for sure the worst piece of gear in this game.
Oh yeah.
Totally useless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool.
Very weird. So anyway. All right, boys and girls, that's it for this episode. We're going to go play zombies and take weapons out to unlock them instead of spending 100 tokens doing it. Hope you enjoyed. Like we said, this is not an exhaustive list. There are plenty of other things to talk about that we will get to, but these were our first impressions, things that stuck out to us most. And also, all of these opinions are subject to change. Many of them will. Our assessment of the maps, I'm sure, will change. Weapons, perks, a lot of this is going to change. So, fret not if we said something you think is crazy. Maybe we just haven't experienced it enough. We will be back next week. We will have an unusual schedule next week, so make sure you check our schedule at the Dropshot Pod on Twitter. We post our schedule on Monday, or join the Discord. You'll find it there as well. Links are below. And for Patreon, very excited to play some more, get a nice multiplayer brainstorm out there. That will probably be our next bonus episode for Patreon, is a multiplayer brainstorm where we actually do really sit down, think about, and test what is the best perk setup to use. What are some through line attachments that are really good? there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be learned about ammo types in this game, for example, that we didn't talk about today. So hollow point, slash overpressured. There is an ammo type that gives you a ton of flinch. Is it worth using? We'll talk about it. Is hollow point worth using? We'll talk about it. There's an ammo type, high grain rounds, that increase your damage. Is that worth using? Does it lower your shots to kill in a meaningful way? We'll get into all of that and more on Patreon, patreon.com/thedropshot, with our multiplayer brainstorm that we will for sure be doing sometime this month. So, like we've been saying, now is the best time to be a patron. We've got a lot of banger bonus episodes cooking, and we're going to start doing the homework, the research, and get more hours in to do those. And I'm very excited to do them. So check that out, patreon.com/thedropshot. We'll be back next week. Stay humble.
Stay humble.